All right, no problem. All right, guys, we are live. Okay, live stream. What is this? All right, I apologize. I'm got it. All right, guys, we have Brian Herb with us today. He is, everybody knows who Brian is. He is the YouTube creator, designer of the Drop Solo, the Topside,
Drop Dead.
The Drop Dead. Yes, I forgot. I was going to put the Drop Dead in there. The Topside and the Topside Dual. Welcome, Brian. Let me get this out of the way too, because this is going to be like a little giveaway for anyone watching the show today. If they all they got to do is comment, they'll get a 10 and 20% discount on the Zamplebox. Just comment, and I'll pick a winner later, man.
Cool.
Welcome, Brian. I don't know where my other guys are. Would love to, but no link to join. Oh, you guys, your jackasses is in there. Hold on, Brian.
That's fine.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Brian?
I'm doing pretty well. I actually have a little bit of dinner here that my wife handed me before the show. And I'm just excited to be here. Hello to everybody in chat on the Zamplebox group. Yeah, and happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great. I'm trying to get you back on the show. You've been, oh, here we go. There's Tim. I'll say hello to Brian. Brian, this is Tim.
Hi,
Brian.
Our resident rocker.
Good, how are you?
Good, man.
Yes, he looks like no, he's shaking his head. He looks who's he look like to you?
He looks like a handsome, sexually powerful man.
We won't say who he looks like.
Everybody thinks I look like Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. But,
there you go. That's not a bad thing.
That's not. That's Tom. Tom, everybody watches your channel. We all know you.
Hi, Tom H.
And Brian, I think, is going to be coming on here in a little bit. He just gets off work.
Now that we have the link, yes, he will be here.
The link was in there, guys, but that's okay.
No, it wasn't.
I scrolled for an hour, bro. There was no link.
Oh, wrong chat.
Yeah, who? Not one of us.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm 52. In 1 week, I'll be 52. Give me a break, man.
No.
I'm the oldest guy here.
Yeah. What's your birthday?
June 3rd. Yours is a couple days after mine.
27th. So you still can't use the 52-year-old excuse.
I am the senior vapor here. I probably vaped longer than all of you.
When did you start vaping?
8 years. September. Wow. Yeah, it's been 8 years. Tim, too, you're almost 8 years too, Tim, right?
Yeah, just over 7.
Yeah. Tom's a newbie. So we're going to
for 4 years.
Yeah,
5 years.
4 or 5 years. Let me get the comments up there. They should be here. Good evening, John. Well, we're going to go ahead and start, Brian. I talked a little bit about my question that I had for you, and basically it was something that's kind of important with the Zamplebox community is the vape community and as a whole, and how helpful it's been with each other, all the members, whether it's this group or any group. Seeing the camaraderie and everyone just so quickly and ready to help each other. And my question's long, but I actually first kind of saw that on your guys' end, on your page with the Vape Team, just you three, you, Mark, and Mike, and how quickly I was like I said, there's 3 guys from 3 different parts of the country, and if you watch that show and it's your first time, you'll swear to God, you guys been friends for 30, 40 years. I mean, it's just pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you want to talk a little bit about the vape community and how it's been for you?
Sure. I think, well, for me, and this is just the story of how it started, because, communities are built. They don't just happen. And I would love to say that I had this big plan from the very beginning of starting vaping, that I was going to create a community. And I think that when you try to force things, it ends up backfiring. I started my channel in a lonely basement like most of us, and the channel was started out of just a total and complete excitement and gratitude for finding a pathway to quit smoking cigarettes after I'd smoked for 24 years. And like most of us, that feeling like not only, all the trial and error in the early stages when you're trying to quit and you're trying to find that right product to satisfy the cravings, and most of us, by the time we find vaping, we've given up. We've given up hope. We feel like we're just destined to die from smoking-related illnesses or to suffer with decreasing quality of health and things like that as time goes on. And for me, after 24 years, I was having trouble breathing. I was having a lot of asthma. I was having a lot of coughing all the time. At nighttime, when I would lay on my back, it was hard for me to breathe out. So the long-term effects of smoking were apparent. And also having a partner, my wife, Amy, we both smoked over a pack a day each.
Oh, wow.
So there was always this underlying, like with every laugh and every smile, when we smoked together, there was this underlying fear that I'm going to end up having to deal with my wife suffering in the hospital, or she's going to have to deal with me suffering in the hospital. And we have an opportunity to end that possibility by, quitting. Yeah. And I had tried to quit years before. And I don't want to go into other questions because I know you have other questions to go into.
No worries. Yeah.
But as far as the community, I think that the excitement was so great. And the place that I went to find solutions for things like dry hitting or, getting opinions on flavors or getting opinions on like what the best product to buy is, I immediately found YouTube. And I found Grim Green, and I found Twisted, and I found Matt, and I found or Suck My Mod, and or Matt from SMM.
SMM.
Yeah. And Todd, and just all these wonderful content creators that made me feel, even though they didn't know me, people in chat didn't know me or in the comment section, I felt like I knew them. And it wasn't just me in the basement by myself trying to figure all this stuff out. And then it turned into, humble beginnings of grabbing my iPhone 4 or 3 or whatever it was at the time and rigging up a computer monitor stand for a microphone that was way too tinny and had echo and horrible lighting. And, you can go to my channel, The Vapor Chronicles, which I don't really do a lot of videos anymore, reviews, but you can see if you go back to the beginning how it was just a guy in a basement. Like everybody. Yeah. And very quickly, by chance, I met Mike. And Mike hadn't even started his channel yet, really, when I met him.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I thought,
No, Mike hadn't started his channel yet. Mike would be in the comments on my reviews. And at the time, I was just a starting channel. And he would give encouraging comments, like great video and things like that. And we started joking back and forth. And then he did a video in his kitchen of the Aspire Atlantis cloud video, and we just had a connection. We had a connection. We were close enough in age. We both were grateful to quit smoking, and I guess we both were sort of at the right place at the right time with the right passion, and it was just luck and chance, Yeah.
That's awesome. I always we were just talking about Mike's first video in the kitchen there with Yeah, Tom, you want to go ahead and ask Brian your question there?
Well, the one I was going to ask, he already answered, and that was how he met Mike.
Oh, how he met Mike. Yeah.
And because I've always wondered, I've watched you guys for a while. I mean, Brian, I've bought a lot of your products. They're amazing.
Thank you.
I've even helped sell some of them because people would ask what's a good RDA to use to start out with. And I'm like, the Drop or the Drop Solo. They're fantastic. They're easy. I mean, I'm still using mine today on the Topside. Now, my second question is, how'd you come up with the variant, which I'm also using? So that's also what I'm vaping.
So the variant was Dovpo wanted to come up with a kit for the Topside, and kits are really big in certain countries.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had been contacted by DigiFlavor, and DigiFlavor said they were discontinuing the Drop RDA. And I had spent, and I've showed this on the Vape Team before, but I had spent probably a year and a half to 2 years, and I'm always tinkering and designing stuff, but I would say 70% of the things that I work on, I never release. I pull the plug because I was working on trying to come up with a sequel to the Drop forever.
Yeah.
And everything that I came up with, I mean, this is like 2017, times. You know what I mean? Like I had come up with so many different airflow configurations that, you know, the list goes on, and it's really overwhelming to look at all the things. But the truth was, nothing vaped better than the drop.
Yeah.
No matter how much I tried, I just couldn't. If you have something that's going to vape equal to or less than the product that you already released, you owe a service to the community to not release it.
Right.
So when they said you want to release a product for instead of like a drop version 2, I decided, you know what, DigiFlavor can have the drop name, or we use the drop name with them. Instead of calling it, because when I was working with DigiFlavor, I came up with the name Drop Variant. That was going to be the V2.
Oh, okay.
That was what I was going to call it, because it's a variant of the drop.
Right.
And then,
Wordplay.
little wordplay, and I like that part of the experience is my favorite part. Like trying to come up with simple but effective ways to do something that's different than just V2 or something like that. So we started playing around with Dovpo, and a lot of people, in my opinion, when they were putting builds on the drop RDA, they were putting the build in vertically, and they weren't sort of bending the coils in toward the middle. And I think bending them in toward the middle was such a sweet spot and just increased the performance and the flavor so much more for me, that I figured with the variant, if I could just bend those posts a little bit so the natural resting position was in the position that it should have been originally, you still had all of the build space as far as like the juice well itself. And the other thing is that the holes were modified. So the top holes are slanted downward if you take a look.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, so they're slanted downward, and then the bottom ones come in straight. And I also added the ability to reverse the airflow stepping. So now you can step downward or you can step upward. So for people that like, you know, their airflow coming in from the top, they can have it from the top only. People that want it from the bottom, they can have the bottom only. So there was more adjustability. The other great idea, which if I ever come out with another RDA, it's going to be even improved even more, was the ability to open up your squonking capability without taking out a pin.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Because these ideas like just come to me sometimes. Like I'm just doing laundry, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's it.
I was going to ask you, because when you do, is it your ideas coming from things that you see in your normal day? That's where it's coming from. I mean, it's like you see something being operated or the way it's functioning, you go, that could work in a mod. I mean, does that happen? That happens to you. I mean,
yeah,
got to happen to everybody.
I think it comes from frustration. You know, I think it comes from frustration. And that's sort of like when you're looking for what the next evolution of something is, like you say to yourself, oh, well, it's like if you're driving a car. Like you drive a car, you get a flat tire, and you think to yourself, why the hell do they design tires that have compressed air in them that can pop?
Yeah.
Well, what would be a solution for that? And then, you know, thankfully, we're in an industry that's so young, that's so new, that the sky is the limit as far as your creative capability to find really obvious solutions for problems that exist. But you just have to be simple enough in your way of thinking to find them, because they're hidden in plain sight, like all these little solutions, like with the Topside. Like that idea was so simple. But it had taken years for somebody to come up with that idea.
Yeah, and it's I have all the Topsides except for the mech. I'm not comfortable with mechs yet. So, I love it. It's a fantastic idea. I don't have to make a big old mess when I'm refilling my squonks or nothing.
Timmy, you got your question for Mr.
Well, yeah, I mean, the initial conversation kind of caused it to morph into two. So I'm flipping my virtual coin, right, to pick the one I'm asked. I think I would just my other one was a little bit deeper, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more personal. But I'm just going to go with the obvious one. What led you to the path that you're on now with designing and working with other companies to come up with these to actually bring your ideas to fruition? I mean, obviously you transition from a smoker to a vapor, you know, for all the right reasons, but what got you towards designing and working with you know, Digiflavor and Dovpo?
I think it was just a series of well, first, the first thing is that Digiflavor was not the first company that I worked with. I had a year and a half before the drop came out, I had worked with Sense, and I had designed an RDA that was going to be called the Sense Step RDA. And at the time, Sense was going through some trouble because they had released some products that weren't very popular. And after like a few months of designing a product with them, they pulled the plug on it, which really broke my heart. I think the opportunity to be able to do it was because the industry was so young. The Chinese manufacturers were looking for new ideas. I think that being a reviewer meant that we had some influence with the manufacturers to sort of pass ideas to them. I think that, you know, Twisted Messes, Jabo, Grim Green, these influential vapors sort of broke ground, and Twisted Mess or Vaping with Twisted 420, like a lot of these people had sort of planted the seeds that we could see growing, and we said, you know what, let me just see if I can shoot this idea over and see if we can develop. It was just luck and just timing.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I think it was Twisted pretty much the first one. I think we talked about it. Was he pretty much the first influencer to put out a design or
as far as a reviewer? I think he was.
Yeah, I think he was, and I think he had some problems with his. It was the what was that thing called? You guys remember the hand?
It was kind of vague on. I feel like I
looked like an alien. The mod that looked like an alien thing. I don't know what it was.
It might have been. I do remember him being one of the first ones to kind of work with someone to come up with his own juice line. I remember that was like the first thing that I saw from him, and then maybe the mods came along later.
Yeah, I have a question that came from one of our female members, and it was kind of a good question, and she wanted to talk about how do you think the industry could focus a little bit more making, I don't know how she worded it, but kind of like making more mod designs for females. Is that something that, I mean, I know the gap I looked at my numbers on Instagram, and it's 70-30, right around there, men to women.
76-24 were your numbers, John.
Yes, yeah, it was lower than that. But do you think that's gonna ever, I mean, is that something that you think about, or does China think about that?
Well, so there's two parts of it. There's style, right? So there's the aesthetics, the look, the color, the you know, I guess whatever you want to consider female, because females are a diverse group of people. Yeah. And then I don't.
It's kind of
it's a tough question. I will tell you this: that when I was designing the Topside, the original Topside, when I had the design in my hand, when I was using the original squonk position of on the product, the first prototype, I realized that if you had fingernails, they were going to actually break off if you used the squonker. So I had taken into consideration people with fingernails at the time when I was doing that. So but I mean, throughout the history of vaping, I mean, there have been tons of products that have come in what some people would consider feminine colors, even though there's males that like feminine colors too. But yeah, I think it would be really cool. I think that we exactly right.
Purple. Yeah, because that's what it basically. I mean, I don't know what kind of design you would even. I mean, what, a smaller mod?
I don't think it was so much about, you know, form factor as it was just
color.
More like colors and styles that really kind of catered more towards maybe a purely feminine, you know, want.
Yeah, color and form factor, because some of the mods out are rather girthy, and I really don't like using that word, but
or moist. Not allowed to use moist.
Right. they're for they fit better in larger hands.
Yeah.
And not everybody's got big giant hands.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, and I mean, I think like, I mean, even when you were designing the topside, I mean, I'm sure you were thinking, okay, which I know you guys do. Which finger am I going to fire this with?
Sure.
I mean, that is just such a huge, and some companies just don't fucking get that.
Yeah.
They just don't get it, and they just put these buttons in these stupid friggin' places, dude.
Yeah, there's so much thinking that goes into every single aspect of the mod. When you see it in the computer aided drafting program, we're sort of, before we even feel it, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'll show you. Before things come out, before we even start manufacturing, we make
one more, John.
We make prototypes, and most of the time they're 3D printed. So, like, for instance, this is the one of the original 3D printed. This is plastic; it's not usable.
Yeah.
Of the
SQ.
The SQ Topside, and this is an unreleased product that came in. And basically, what this allows you to do is sort of get the form factor, feel it in your hands. But the size of the device has everything to do with what battery are you using? What batteries are you using? And it has to do with whatever chip that you're going to use.
Yeah.
And the board that's going to fit inside of there. Yeah.
See, I got the, you know, who's this one belongs to.
Yep. Bogan.
And it's a great mod, but my problem is where the button is. I'm constantly doing this, constantly trying to figure out how to fire this.
Let me grab mine. Hold on.
Every time I pick it up, I have to swing. I have to swing it. I have to move it around and put it in my hand a different way. Sometimes I'll fire it like this. Sometimes I'll fire it with my index finger, but I never pick it up like the top side. I grab the top side. It's in my hand. I know how I'm gonna fire it. I grab this, and every time I grab it, look, see how I got to swing it around and reset itself every time. And I don't think I've ever fired this the same way every time I picked it up. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's just to me, it's just your designs. I think you put a lot more thought into how the guy's going to pick it up, how he's going to use it, where he's going to put it in. Is this a mod that's going to go in his pocket, in a backpack? I mean, I like that. And this is the same way. This mod, I know how I'm going to pick this up every damn time. I know I'm going to fire it every damn time.
Is that the Centurion?
Yeah, the paranormal.
Oh, the paranormal,
yeah, the NA250C. But I know how I'm going. I know when I pick that up, I know how I'm going to fire it. Same thing with the top side. When it's sitting on my desk and I go to grab it, there's no second guessing. I know how I'm grabbing it. I know how I'm firing it, and I enjoy that.
All right,
purple.
Not to interrupt here, but we have a couple questions in chat.
Go ahead, Tom.
John Liger wants to know, been on a tank for about 3 months, thinking of switching to an RDA. Which would you recommend? Well, I'm a little biased to the gentleman that's our special guest in all of his products. So
I'm a special guest. Yes.
Yeah. You're a special.
I am special and I'm a guest.
Not Mark.
Yes. For once, God, Mark's going to love that.
And then Amanda's question is, any issues internationally with design and marketing sales, EU and Canada specifically?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. So when it comes to the business side of the design, like, I'm just a designer. I don't want to have any connection. Now, do I market and promote and advertise and things like that? Yes. But as far as like dealing with the law, I have an LLC that protects me with my business from my side as a designer. But as far as like international law and these manufacturers dealing with this, that is so on them. I don't want anything to do with it. And obviously, the more countries that your product can be available in, the larger the market. It's amazing also to find out like what regions in the world like products sell and where they don't sell. Yeah. And everything sort of flows in waves. You have these sort of peaks, and the peak that's happening in the United States might be a different peak that's happening in Russia, which might be a different peak that's happening in Europe or in Asia or
Italy, yeah.
Italy, all over the world is just different.
Yeah.
And they're totally different communities but the good news is that no matter what's happening and what products are popular, as long as people aren't smoking,
Yep.
that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's at the end of the day, that is all that matters. People not smoking anymore.
The hobby of it is for specific people that it maintains their interests. It gives them something healthy as an outlet to sort of spend their time doing. It keeps their focus off of, the idle time you used to spend smoking. And that's all it is. The products changed, mouth to lung, 16 millimeter devices, 22 millimeter devices, 30 millimeter devices, mechanical devices, regulated devices, simple devices, complicated devices, colors, non-color, all these thousands of different variations that we've seen over the years all have to do with just changing appetites, trying to keep people's interest, and seeing what the populace of vapors out there want.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think that a lot of it has to do with innovation as well. And I mean, at the surface, most people might not look at this industry and say that there's much room for innovation when you really kind of consider just the basic premise of it all. But this previous conversation helps lead me into my second question, if you don't mind. Maybe this is the more of the doom and gloom one, but just kind of given the levity of everything that's going on in the United States right now, where we're kind of at the precipice of I don't want to say sink or swim, but succeed or fail. I know we've got a bit of a road ahead of us. Let's just say the roof caves in on the United States and it takes away a large portion of your market. I know you have a lot of customers and fans here in America. Where does that take Brian from there? Do you just shift your gears and look to staying where you can continue to develop products and things like that, or does that change your model tremendously?
I'm still trying to figure out like what's going on in my own head about what's been happening. This has been an extremely traumatic time. It's been traumatic for me as just a vapor in general, for seeing the injustices that are happening, it's made me lose faith in a lot of trusted institutions, not only in the United States, but also around the world. I'm 42 years old, and I must have been naive or immature because this was like the first real thing that I faced that I felt I was dealing with entities that were so powerful, so skilled at being deceptive, so much in control of the narrative that I almost felt afraid for our success, and I think everybody, you'd be lying if you said you weren't afraid. That doesn't mean you shouldn't fight. Also, I don't think 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I started vaping that I had any idea the adventure that would happen in my life and how that would impact certain other areas of my life. So I think a lot of people might think that I'm this business person in the vape industry. And as much as I do have a business, I have a whole nother life outside of vaping where I have a business. Yeah. And you only have so much of you to give. You know what I mean? Like there's only so many hours a day. Burnout is a 100% real thing that happens, and there's consequences for burnout. And I will say that with every product release after it, there's like a recovery period. And, having the drop come out, the drop dead, the drop solo, then the Topside Dual, Topside Dual Special Edition, Topside Dual Carbon, the Profile Unity, all these products that I released within a really short period of time. As amazing as it was, the opportunity, there was also a toll that it took on the family life situation. There was a toll that it took on my health. There was a toll that it took on my business outside of vaping. And so at the same time as this is all happening, the industry is being attacked. And at a time where I was proud and excited and I was enjoying these accomplishments, there was also a new angle from all of my family and friends and society that was saying, yeah, great job, child addictor. Great job.
Yeah.
Basically I felt like I was Big Tobacco from the 1960s and 70s.
You were Camel Joe.
I was Camel Joe. And there was, I wouldn't say shame, because deep down I know the truth. Yeah. I know that vaping saves lives. I know that this is a pathway to never smoke again. But at the same time, it just added more stress. It added more stress.
You get to that point where after you've heard that comment over, you just take a deep breath and you're just like, oh, I don't want to get into it. I've gotten there, and it's just like before I would just jump in there and just like fire back. And there are days where I'm just like, I just take that deep breath and I just go, they're not worth it. It's not worth it.
Right.
Walk away. Walk away. I got a question for you, and I'm not sure if you ever had the opportunity. You know, we all know there's a high end market that's out there.
Sure.
And it was pretty prevalent, say for me, like 6-7 years ago. There used to be that group. We had it. Oh, let me bring Brian in. We had it. It was pretty significant in the Zamplebox page, where it was like in the very beginning, it was like, okay, here's the high end group, and here's the mid-level group, and they just clashed. But as far as the market, the way it is today, it's changed a lot. A lot of the high-end stuff is a little bit more affordable. But have you ever been offered to come up with designs, say with some of the Greek companies, the Italian companies? Have you ever? Never, huh? Never. I thought maybe you just turned them down and said, "Fuck you."
No, to be honest with you, I've never been contacted except for maybe by 3 companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Most of the opportunities I've had is because of my own ability to sort of make connections at the right time. Yeah.
How about any of the U.S. companies? I know there's not many of them left, but you've never been pursued by any of those either, as far as like, hey, come over here, help. I'll just throw it. Yeah.
And there's also when you have a successful product launch, that means that the brand has established itself. Yeah. So as soon as that happens, it opens up a lot of other opportunities to release more products. So I truly believe that maybe 2 products at the same time is max of what you want to work on, because you're just going to be up. China's at 12 hours different than us.
Hours, yeah.
So there was hundreds and hundreds of nights that it would be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would be, on one of the apps that I use to contact back and forth. And, I would get 3 or 4 hours of sleep, because I'd have to be up in the morning. Yeah. So there's only so much you can do. And you also want to make sure that you don't force things. Like, just because there's an opportunity, if you just race and release anything, you're going to pay for that in the long run, I think.
Yeah.
I do think that.
Or you get in with a company that's not 100% into it. We won't name any names.
Yeah. And there's also the side effect of like when you have your face tied to something and you're sending this across the planet, and there's potentially hundreds of thousands of people that are going to use this product. When people are unhappy, you're going to know about it. Yeah. And that's going to take its toll on you, and you feel it. You know what I mean? If you care, if you're passionate, you're going to feel it, and it's going to hurt. Yeah. And there's some things that happen that I didn't foresee, that, there might've been a problem with a product that you found out 3 months after it launched, because you couldn't test it for 3 months yourself to find out if it was going to hold up for this, that, and the other. But that's just the nature of the game. Yeah.
I bet you had like nightmares of O-rings.
Terror. Terror. There are some times that I actually shut off my social media because I needed to detach, because it was just too overwhelming. And then that's why, like, sometimes when people say, oh, you're not reachable, or you're cold, or you don't engage as much, we talked about the community with the first question. A lot of it's out of necessity. Yeah. It's not out of anything malice or, anger towards anyone. It's not out of thinking I'm better than. I'm just a regular vapor, just like everybody else. But a lot of it's time management, and also trying to give yourself time to spend with family, give yourself to spend, doing other things than just vaping.
Right.
Welcome, Brian. You can go ahead and throw your question out.
Hi, Brian.
Brian to Brian.
Pleasure to meet you.
It's going to get confusing.
Yeah, we kind of, it's going to be interesting. So how do you make different devices with different companies without butting heads too much?
Well, I was telling John before the show started tonight, I'm going to
relation.
Yeah, we're going to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to stay out of that question.
There's things that happen behind the scenes that are butting of heads. You try to keep it out of the public eye, and you want to keep things as professional as possible. at the same time, sometimes you just have to take a chance and do something.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's not always as easy as it seems.
Well, I
Yeah,
could-
which is absolutely fine. I mean, everyone expects to have a difference of opinions, and working together with other people is actually a huge trait that is like a good trait to have.
I can see too. It's like one company seeing one of your ideas and thinking, no, that's not going to work, and the other company saying, you know, that's amazing, it's awesome, let's go.
Mhm.
Let's do it. I can see. I mean, each company has a vision. I'm sure they all have a vision of what they're looking for or want as far as innovation from you or design. So I'm sure one company's like, yeah, that's awesome, let's do it, and the other's just like, oh, that'll never work, it'll never sell.
Yeah, when I went with the drop to a company first before I went with DigiFlavor, and they said no, this is not going to be something good for the market. When I did the Topside a year and a half before the Topside, now imagine if I would have done the Topside a year and a half before I did. That was when the market was in its total peak. I went to a company. They actually were in my house in the basement. They came to my house and met with me, and I gave them the idea for the Topside, and they said, no, this is not a good idea.
Hard to believe.
They're not looking good. They're not too happy.
Yeah, well, they've released products that
Yeah.
So
You got another
it's funny.
Brian?
Hmm.
I'll let you catch up, Brian.
Yeah. Sorry, I was at work, just running a little behind. My other one is basically like, for those who have been in other industries or other businesses or whatnot, how, when you jumped into this industry, what do you think the major differences are between this and other ones, since they are vastly different?
I think this industry, when I started, there was no rules. Okay, so the you could come into this industry, create your own network of influential people. You could create your own space on a platform like YouTube. You could create your own groups on a place like Facebook. Like, this is like the birth of an industry, at the same time the birth of social media and accessibility to us as individuals, sharing our feelings and opinions about products all at the same time. And it let a person with no qualifications other than quitting smoking, somebody that wasn't, working in corporate America for big corporations, being a designer or being an engineer or being a marketing professional. And it allowed influencers on Instagram that didn't have those qualifications either to make a living and have a career out of it. And even think of all the startup companies in the United States and globally that were started from ex-smokers that found a way to quit smoking. And then with their own capital and with their own creativity, they started legit businesses in the birth of an industry that is top 5 in the world. And then to have some control in that industry, it's amazing. And it never, ever happens.
Yeah.
It was just the planets aligned and vaping worked. And here we were. And let's figure it out. So I think a lot of people, if they're honest, they will tell you that everybody sort of tried to figure it out as they went along. And I never had an expectation to start a YouTube channel that would be popular. I never had an expectation to design products. I never had an expectation, like none of that. It was like, let me see if I can make these videos to show people about these products that I'm loving right now. Like, that was legit exactly how the channel started. So it was luck.
It was luck. Yeah. It was the right time too. I mean, that your group, that group of you three, it was just perfect timing for you three.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
And Mike, I remember Mike's channel, and it was just like all of a sudden his channel just friggin' out of the blue just blew up.
Yeah.
Just blew up. And I was just like, and a lot of it is your guys, all three. You got great personalities. You're easy to talk to, even at shows. You can walk up to you guys and look, Mark, if he stays long enough and you can find him in the show. You're not dodging and weaving, trying to find him. Yeah. You guys are all really easy to talk to, reachable, and a lot of people, and like Mike, I go to Mike's channel a lot because he's still doing a lot of the reviews and he responds to people. And you don't see that too much anymore. You know, I mean, Rip's never done it. I can't even remember the last time I saw Rip comment on a channel on his channel, you know, to a subscriber. And that's what makes you guys so easy to, and your show. I mean, you are like on YouTube. What are you on now? You go on your show, which is
Thursday night,
and then you're on Mark's show on Sunday.
Yep.
And you're sometimes on ST show, right?
I jump on ST show. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's why I was like, okay, I'll do my best to try to get Brian back on because, you know, hey, I get it. I go, Brian works, he's got a job, he's doing videos, you know, he's on Mark's channel. You're on ST. Sometimes you do things with Mike as well.
Yeah.
Call of Duty live.
Yes.
Anybody else got any other questions for Brian or?
I'm good.
I wanted to get into the e-juice part of it, Brian. For
yeah.
You.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead, Brian.
There has been a metamorphosis that's happened on the Vape Team and also on Mark's show. Yeah. And it's I could understand, like I try to step out from being on the show and look at it as if I was a viewer. And sometimes the way I see the show going, the way I feel like the show is very different from what the people in chat that are watching the show see it and feel it as. Yeah. But after you do 250 shows with the similar personalities, similar experiences, similar audience, it's very difficult to keep the energy and the willingness to want to continue doing it. And you get exhausted. Like there's only so many times you can talk about RDAs and RTAs and mods, and the metals start to run together, the brands start to run together, the jokes start to sort of run out of steam a little bit. Yeah. And I think if you have mutual respect for the people on the panel, if you communicate when you're not on the show about your feelings, if you have respect for everyone, and you sort of like, you'll notice like we have a very rhythmic, almost like a musical score camaraderie with each other about who talks when, who's going to dominate the show. Even the jokes are very formulated to there's respect behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite things on the Vape Team. It's on the it is on. No, it would be on Mark's show. I'm sorry. Is when Mike goes, oh, go ahead, ST. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, when he interrupts.
Yeah. Every time he does that, I just start cracking up, man. And then you can see it in ST's face. He knows it's coming.
Yeah.
He knows it's coming.
So your choice in that situation is either you get upset that somebody's talking over you.
Yeah. Or
you make light of it and realize that this is just the way human beings communicate. And these are the challenges with each one having their opinion and want to talk about it on a show. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's hilarious when you guys do that.
Yeah.
So when you started I can't even remember the name of the show now. It was Fresh. No, wait, not Fresh.
Fresh from the Kitchen.
Fresh from the Kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, was that something you wanted? You had passion for doing? I mean, e-juice is the biggest part of the industry, and I mean, when you started that, was it something that you were really passionate about? I'm sure you have all that stuff still away.
I do. I have a huge DIY rotating shelf in the other room, and I have a kitchen area that I had set up just for the show. I knew at the time, first of all, you can't become an expert at something unless you dive in and you understand it at its true depth and complexity. So when you talk about e-liquid, having a better understanding about e-liquid, knowing what makes up e-liquid, what makes it taste the way it does, and also wanting to be able to, at the time, during that period, the FDA was starting to come out with the deeming rule information in 2016. And there was a lot of fear. There was fear in the community. Fresh was a really amazing guy, and I saw what he was doing. And I said, you know what? Let me jump in and see if I can learn on a show from an expert and then broadcast it and show people what's going on. The issue, though, is that when you start something, there's no end date in a contract.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't know how life's going to take its turn. So as that show was going on, the Vape Team was going on, Mark's show was going on, and then here comes designing products at the same time. And I had to sort of deflate certain things and make a choice about what I wanted to invest all my time into.
It was a great show. It was really informative.
Yeah, it really was.
Helped a lot of people. I brought a lot of people to that channel. It's like, oh, go watch this. It'll help you. You'll understand how everything works. And it's kind of sad when I saw it go away.
It was sad for me too.
And the reviews, you had, that's the thing. Your channel in the beginning, I kind of went over to your channel because you started doing things a little different than anybody else was. You had the drop down camera. You were focusing more on the product. You could see the product better, and you know, as you guys joke around, Mark steals everybody's ideas.
Yeah.
But it was a great channel, and for me as a vapor learning, and like one of my favorite reviewers is Phil. Of course, in the beginning, it was just I had to dedicate 2 hours of my life to watch a Phil Pissardo video.
And that was a short video.
It was good. It was still a great video, and then Daniel. I love Daniel's videos. I love his camera angles and everything.
Amazing.
I love the way he, for me, it was just like, oh, okay. Just seeing the product open and seeing the quality of workmanship that was going into solders and just the boards, the way they were placed in there and how the company was thinking about leaking, and stuff like that. It was just a great videos. So leading into that, what was your first YouTube video what was the first guy you kind of was drawn to in the beginning on YouTube before you were a reviewer?
It was a culmination. I think that I love P. Pissardo.
Yeah.
I think he was excellent. And I thought that first of all, he was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
He is hilarious. And I think that his attention to detail and his willingness to sort of do experiments on the fly on the show, it was just attractive. And you could tell that he was passionate about helping people quit smoking. I think Grim Green at the time was just like comforting to listen to. Like his demeanor, his personality, his voice, he just made you feel comforted and like he was just a guy talking to you.
I got a story about Grim Green. I called him oh goddamn, I forgot the name.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers of vaping. I coined him that like 6 years ago. He's gonna kill me for it. In your show, it's like watching Mr. Rogers, man. It just, I feel like you're sitting right next to me, schooling me. It's like, this is how you do it.
Yeah. And then there's the whole process of like, I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours watching these videos. And as soon as I found a channel, I would go back to their roots and look at the beginning of how they started and look at their progression. And, I couldn't help to see the advancements in their lighting and the advancements of their camera work and the advancements of the way they carried themselves on camera, focusing on looking at themselves into the lens instead of looking at the monitor, the smoothness of their hands, the transitions, all the editing and production stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I was intrigued by that stuff a great deal. And then just, putting yourself out there, depending on your personality type, putting yourself in front of the camera, in front of people can be extremely difficult if you're sensitive to criticism. And when you first start out, there were people that would say, don't quit your day job. You suck. You're never going to do anything in this industry. You don't, first of all, I didn't know what I was talking about. So, and people did, and they knew it and they would call me out. And it hurts to be told something that's not true. It hurts even worse to be told something that is true.
Yeah.
So they're going to expose all of your weaknesses, your faults. I used to say things like, and hum. And, I still do. The way my teeth are and the way I have an underbite, I smack my lips and I have like a sound, and they would call me out on that. You have to just persevere, improve, and just deal with the feelings and just get through it and just keep pushing. And then eventually, you can raise two fingers in the air and say, look at me now, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wish there was more satisfaction to it than that, but
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best satisfaction there is.
yeah.
You could just, as your crew says, you could just throw some drop money at them.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my yacht. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I wish I had a yacht.
Well, I mean, looking at your background there,
The
look like you're doing fantastic, man.
That is pretty true. Whoops.
Now, is there a? I know that.
You'd be amazed at how many people believe that's real.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I can imagine.
So just for the people watching that have never seen,
Green screen.
it's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's actually the outside, the inner side of the bat cave.
Yeah.
Forest, so you can just barely see the forest there.
Yeah, I'm in a basement that has a ceiling that's only 6'1", and I'm 6 foot tall,
Oh man.
and it has a popcorn ceiling.
Oof.
And it's oofy down here. There's like sprickets and little creatures running around, and it gets pretty. We've had 3 floods down here. You know, nothing is glamorous.
A water heater issue.
Just don't jump. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't jump.
When I stretch, it's like my hands go through the ceiling.
I was actually waiting for the ceiling to come down right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just waiting for the sun.
If the ceiling was taller, I tell you, I would have done a much more. I would have gotten a standing desk. I would have done a much further away kind of visual.
Yeah.
and done a lot more with that.
No. Well, it's funny because it's like the transitions throughout the years on all the channels. Everybody. I mean, shit, some of these guys are fucking shooting with red cameras.
I
Man,
know.
$60,000 fucking cameras, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people that are watching the YouTube videos realize the money that is going into just doing these videos. And just the cameras, lenses, wires, second camera, editing software, and your time. I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe it's just American people. I hate saying that, but it's just like people don't seem to understand that your time has value. And it's just like, I can never understand that. Maybe I'm just speaking because I'm old or whatever, but it's like everybody has a value. You spend just to do one video, what it used to take you to do just your normal review.
For me, because I was so anal about editing, it took me probably 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah. I mean, and people just go, oh, it's only a 15-minute video.
Yeah,
and
8 to 10 hours.
Dude, it was more than that.
Yeah.
Nobody just shoots straight and puts it right on YouTube. Nobody does that, man. I mean, they're color grading, they're adding transitions, special effects, tickers. I mean, all that stuff takes time, and your time is worth something. And I hate that when I'm scrolling through comments and videos and I see comments like that. It's just like, this or that, and I'm just like, dude, he's doing this, and now especially the way YouTube is designed, not for a lot of money. And there wasn't a lot of money in it in the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah. So, I didn't make $1 on doing videos until the third year.
The third year.
It took 3 years. Yeah.
3 years.
I get contacted a lot by people and they say, oh, I want to start designing a product, or I want to start doing videos, or I want to start, doing live shows and things like that. And I have certain things that I recommend to people. But the one thing that I say before everything else is that be extremely careful that you know what you want to do it for and what the consequences of dedicating your life for a period of time. Like, this is going to impact your sleep. It's going to impact your finances. It's going to impact your relationship if you're married, or if you're have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It's going to impact your psyche when you deal with all the challenges of putting yourself out there. There's so much sacrifice. So make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and you're willing to lose some things and have your life change. Your life's not going to be the same when you start to do it if you're doing it seriously.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's not a bad thing, by the way.
No.
But it takes commitment.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're like, I want to make money on YouTube. I want to make money on YouTube, and I'm just like, that's not the reason to want to start a channel.
Mm-mm.
It may be one down the road, but you should be doing it because, say, you want to help some vapors understand, how to wick this RDA or how to wick this RTA, and understanding why it's leaking and stuff like that. So, anyone else got any question? Oh, well, I wanted to ask you one more question. Is there a Brian TVC D-Juice in the future?
Before coronavirus took hold, and before the things that happened last September and November, there was.
It was.
Yeah, but that's been put on hold indefinitely at this point. Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, especially with
damn beer flu.
I know, it sucks.
Yeah, the beer. Yeah, Corona is spending a lot of money trying to clear that all up. Poor company. I have constantly keep seeing them their video. They've been plastering it on TV and on a lot of web, on a lot of pages. We've donated $1.5 million for Corona aid. Just trying to get people to realize they had nothing to do with fucking what's going on.
Yeah.
I hope people aren't that aloof.
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
I only do. We have who's this? Pizza Dave 80.
What's up, Pizza Dave?
You know who? Yeah, it's on the YouTube end of it. I do. Taking enough time. I get it.
Yeah, because he did say, "How's it going, Brian and Brian?" So he's talking about them two, not us.
The double B's.
The double D. Yeah, the double B's. I'm being so good today, and I'm not using any of my sound effects today. It's been driving me crazy not to hit one of those.
Drop them. Do it.
Well, one of my favorite ones is the Jackie Moon one. I was going to play this to introduce you, Brian.
Me.
I said, I don't know if he wants to be remembered as Jackie Moon. I'm talking rainforest.
Did that just say I'm talking rainforest sweat? Is that what that just said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Rainforest sweaty.
Oh, that's
Like rainforest sweaty.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Exactly.
All right. One more question for you. You're pretty much in the, let's just say, the kill zone where you live, New York and New Jersey, with everything that's going on. I mean, I heard you say it. No, you can't say you didn't say it, but you said, "I'm getting out of New Jersey someday." I mean, is that how you? I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm in the same situation you are. This is basically the first time in my life that I've been a pretty political person, but this is like the first time I felt the same way, powerless. I just felt like, okay, I could do this, I could do that, I can do this, but where am I getting? I mean, for people like you guys in Jersey and New York, I mean, now it's getting ready to have. They snuck it through in California here. I don't know if you heard. They snuck that bill through. It went through 8-1. It's going on to its next step. And that day I heard that, it was just like all this air just came out of me, and I was just like, okay, now I know what it's. I feel like I've been portrayed. Like, all right, this is who I voted for. I didn't vote for Newsom, but I mean, how's that like affect? I mean, it's all gone through now. I mean, how much has that changed the way you? Well, I don't know. You really don't own a shop, but you don't.
Yeah, I'm not a business, and I'm not impacted at all on that level. And I have
shops locally that you.
But
yeah,
I have friends. And I have people that I'm very close with that are huge advocates in the state of New Jersey. That their businesses are destroyed. Their livelihoods are destroyed. They have leases that they can't get out of. They have families that need to be, kids that need to go to college, and not only that, it's the unmet potential of an industry that was cut off at the knees when it was really starting to make a difference and when it was really working. And I think that imagine and the what ifs, what it could have been like if we would have never had this state and federal intervention to really destroy us from the inside out. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It's hard.
It's the first time in my life that I've sort of had to find some different inner strength to get the shit beat out of you, royally beaten out of you. and then have somebody you know is bigger, stronger, and faster, and then still find the strength to get up with your head held high and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And that is not easy. And everyone deals with this kind of trauma differently.
Yeah. We talked about this on another show, and you're close to this city, or the state, I should say, and city. But what do you think Philadelphia did different? Why did the politicians or the whoever was in charge in that area just say, okay, let's do the tax and we're done with it? What do you think they did different that New York's not doing different, California's not doing different, Jersey's not doing different? Because you don't see any rumblings. Even from the vapors in Philadelphia, they're like, okay, this is the tax, no problem, let's move forward.
Well, I think they jumped on that earlier.
Yeah.
I think they were ahead of this new coalition that had formed between, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. And I think that they were saying, well, they see this trend, they see this loss of revenue, and they said, how can we salvage some of this and also protect businesses? I think their focus was more on protecting jobs and also protecting businesses. And that was sort of the angle that they took. And they said, listen, we're not going to step in and try to control these businesses. We're just going to make some money off of it on our end.
Yeah, it just blows. I mean, that's where I'm from. I grew up out there, and
where did you grow up again?
South Philly. I'm from South.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But when I see what's going on there, and I'm just like asking myself, why the revenue that could be made from vaping is never going to make up what's being lost. That's going to be lost from cigarettes, but it's still revenue. And I don't see with California and so many of the companies that are out here, especially down south, with the manufacturers of hardware. There's a lot of hardware companies, TBL. There's a bunch of companies that are out there, and a lot of e-juice manufacturers are out in the south, are down south. I don't see why that hasn't even been addressed. I don't even remember even it being addressed in New York, like them saying, hey, tax us. Take the 45 cents. You want to tax us 15 cents per milliliter or the nicotine levels? I think they did nicotine levels in Philadelphia, right? Or is it the bottle itself?
I think it's milliliters.
The milliliters.
I mean, nicotine.
The nicotine levels, right?
Yeah.
I don't see why New York alone, how much they're going to lose in revenue to what they were making in e-juice.
Well, they're probably rolling the dice a little, though, don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
Well, from another perspective, too, when you have a brand new industry, there are storefronts that are using up all of this real estate. They're filling in these large strip malls. There's new jobs being created all over the place. So there's employees. There's all these taxes that businesses pay to stay in business. There's employees that earn an income that pay taxes on that money also. And this is all brand new, never existed before business. Yeah. And besides the cigarette, the downfall of the cigarette taxes because people are quitting and transitioning, if vaping is taken out, the store, or even if cigarettes were taken out, these stores are mostly convenience stores. They're still going to exist. They're still going to have employees. So you're not going to decimate those businesses. If you get rid of vaping, you're going to decimate all those new businesses.
A lot of jobs.
A lot of jobs.
And that's the big issue. To me, it just, I'm proud of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was hoping that California would step in and somebody there would. I even emailed my congressman. I tax it. Fuck it. You want to charge the tax on it? Tax it. There's no reason to get rid of a whole industry and millions of people that are quitting smoking. And I always get the same thing on my personal page. I always get the, this is. I said, well, then get rid of fucking cigarettes. Where's the push to get rid of goddamn cigarettes? You're so angry and you want to get rid of vaping, but you have a product that we know has been killing people for fucking hundreds of years, but yet nobody's pushing to get rid of smoking. And it's just like, let's get back vaping.
Yep. But this is go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, with everything that gets typically thrown out most of the time, I feel like we wouldn't be in the same position we probably are in now had that crop up of sickness and death happen. And that I believe that was the, sort of like the final coup de grace to kind of move forward. Maybe the kids thing was always sort of a perimeter issue, but then when the people started getting sick and unfortunately passing away from nothing that was caused by our particular industry per se, I feel like we'd be in a little bit of a different position right now had that not happened.
They were planning their agenda all along. This was a springboard that they took complete opportunity to push their agenda forward by a few years because of the hardships that people were facing from the Valley situation. I guess early on, I thought the science is going to continue showing that people are improving with their health. We're going to win because of science. I had no idea the control and levers that were going on behind the scenes within the FDA, within the CDC, within the WHO. I just didn't know, man. It was like this big monster was there that I trusted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was disheartening as like hell to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear people say, well, if there was more of a union with the e-juice companies, it would be different. They would work better together instead of having this battle of, being number one, and to me, it was just like, even if we had that, I think how many of those guys were willing to invest in, say, lawyers or lobbyists and stuff like that? I don't know. I mean, is that something you thought about as well, Brian? It's like if we had some sort of union where everybody, all the e-juice companies were part of some group.
I think that these types of powerful groups don't happen in a short time. If you look at the NRA, the NRA is powerful because it's been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
These are brand new businesses, small businesses that started up that weren't even in this industry because this industry didn't exist. And it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and say you shoulda, coulda, woulda. The truth is that these people, for the first time in their lives, were making incredible amounts of profit.
Yeah.
We're busier than hell. We're expanding their infrastructure. We're expanding their customer base. And everybody was learning as they went along.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were, out of sight, out of mind. Human nature is sort of focus on what's the duties of today.
Yeah.
And, I'm not one to speak on things that I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Matthew even touched upon it last week and just said how young a lot of these owners were, and
Yes,
that was a big issue, I think, as well.
Well, a lot of it has to do with tunnel vision.
Oh, the tunnel vision,
like he was saying.
Yep, and inexperience.
because they, like we talked about last week. I mean, it was basically you had 10 grand, you started an e-juice company.
Yep.
You had 10 grand, you were and good marketing. You showed up at the shows. You marketed well, and before you knew it, you were selling 10,000 units a month.
And you were able to buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari instead of investing in your business
Brian,
or
that he's got parked in the harbor there in New York.
Yep.
Instead of into where it should have went, which would be like advocacy and your business.
Yeah, a little bit should have. But yeah, it's hard. It's like you say, it's hard to just say, well, if we did this and now in this situation. But I wish there would have been some sort of, I hate using the word union, but just a group. Let's just say a group of e-juice companies. Some of the big boys would have gotten together. I know for a fact some tried, but there's always that, we sell 50,000 units a month. You guys sell 5,000 units a month. You sell 1,000 units a month, or you belong in this group. And it's like, dude, it's e-juice company. We're all together. We're all in it together. But yeah, I mean, it's bad. I mean, I hate seeing what happened in New York because we have a lot of New York members or a lot of New York Zamplebox subscribers, and that's it's a big chunk of that. I mean, even like when we talked about some of the other states, I mean, like Utah, where Utah's was theirs again, guys. Where's the Utah's again, Brian? The other Brian ND. You can't ship in, but they could ship out, right? Utah, I think that's a
I believe Utah is one of those that you can ship out, but you can't ship into.
They can ship their products, e-juice, and out, but you cannot ship any e-juice into Utah. It's crazy how that all works out with each state. And then there's Indianapolis Is it Indianapolis or Indiana?
Indiana.
It was Indiana.
They're the same way, aren't they?
They were.
They were.
Yeah, I believe so.
And shit, we just now got 8 months or 9. How long has it been? A year now that Canada's back into the mix. Now you can actually start shipping product, UG's product to Canada. So baby steps, maybe. I don't know. Is the battle pretty much over in New York, or is there still?
I mean, there's still hopes to get it overturned, which is what the focus is right now. But I mean, it's as bad as it could be unless it gets overturned. So
It's part of his budget, correct? Which makes it more difficult to. to
everything was so strategically done in a way that was just dirty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dirty.
Didn't New York have one that was already overturned once already?
Yeah, New Jersey too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
New Jersey too.
So-
California.
And like Michigan was another one too, something like that. There's like 3 or 4 states that actually had it overturned.
The hope that I do have is I think that when you expand the time frame, when you go past the immediacy of 6 months, this administration, 1 year, 2 years, in the long term, I think that science, I hope that the science will be conclusive enough that it will be impossible. And you can already see changes in the way that the WHO is wording things. This has been a plan all along.
Yeah.
Their whole plan, and I said this in 2016, their whole plan was to use, first of all, they tried to use the products itself and say that it was harmful. When they knew the science wasn't going to back that, then they took the angle of that this was going to be a gateway to smoking. And when that didn't work, then they talked about the kids.
Yeah.
And then the whole plan all along, though, was to consolidate our industry, to shrink it down so that it destroys all the players. And then once they have the PMTA situation taken care of, only a few small or a few huge corporations will be able to control this industry. They will be sitting down with the politicians. Those deals will be done. And then the industry will be supported. And they'll talk about how this is a cessation tool. This will be a way to quit smoking. And then they'll act like they were just being cautious the whole time to protect people's health until they knew the truth. And once they have a stranglehold on the taxes, and once they have a stranglehold on the companies involved.
Yeah. Well, they already, Big Tobacco's already got one product approved, didn't they? Where did they get approved? The
That stupid tobacco stick
That
thing.
heat not burn.
the heat not burn.
IQOS or
The
whatever.
IQOS or IQOS
Yeah.
or IQO, whatever. Yeah.
so they're technically can call it a sensation, or that's right.
But
Yeah,
in order for them to have these products on the market, though, that get approved, they're going to have to change their tune, or else they'll be chastised by the public.
Yeah.
So they've always been very careful to what they say and how they say it.
Yeah,
they say could be potentially. They use their wording very carefully so that later on, when they flip the script, they can say they were just being cautious.
You think China will take that step to make products? Do you see them doing it? It was basically, I'm saying, paying the money that they need to move a product forward into the U.S. market. If this were to come down to them having to get a device,
I'm just speculating.
Yeah, just speculate. That's
My feeling is this: I think that a lot of companies are waiting to see who takes the chance. And then what the outcome is. If you see products getting approved, then everybody's going to take the chance. Because think about this. Imagine if there's only 10 or 15 companies that put up the money to get approved. Think about how much reign they're going to have over the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to own the industry.
Yeah,
they're going to become so powerful so fast. So companies like Smoke, Anakin, the big players, they're definitely going to do it if there's a pathway for approval.
The market's there. They know the market's. Well, obviously they know the market's there. We're buying tons of mods out here. I think in our page alone, every week I see somebody buying something.
It's gone like this though. If you look at the industry, I mean, it went way up and it has fallen off a cliff. It has fallen off a cliff.
Do you think that's a lot to do with the pod systems and not focusing anymore so much on the box devices? Or
I think that it just so happens that the industry went to more pod style systems at the same time that there was a contraction because of the negative press that was happening. I think it's just by chance that those products came out at the same time.
That
I
was
do.
really weird. And it just for me, I kind of saw it. You saw it because you see the products come in all the time, but I just saw like one or two coming in, or somebody said, "Hey, can you take a picture of this?" Blah blah. I was like, "The fuck!" And all of a sudden, it was just every week it was a new pod. It's shaped like an egg. This one's shaped like a pencil. This one's this. I mean, I got a fucking drawer full of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah, but isn't that just a product of saturation of a market, of somebody coming in with an idea and then everybody just following suit? I mean, you see it with 1,000 other things. It's like somebody develops a robotic vacuum and then 50 other companies all have a robotic vacuum. So
Yeah.
it just seems to be sort of like a power vacuum, because they see somebody else making money on it. So they're like, well, let's get in the game. And the variables are so micronic at that point. It's like this one can see, a dog toy on the floor, but this one has a stronger motor, and it's like, the consumers are left sort of like a 6 in one hand, half a dozen of the other. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think like everybody else, we all kind of took our chances on some degree of a pod system along the way for our own particular reasons. Maybe it was portability, maybe it was convenience, maybe it was wanted to get back to MTL style vaping, all that other stuff. So I mean, it's supply and demand, but I think um, same kind of thing happened with sub-ohm tanks. Sub-ohm tanks kind of exploded because they realized everybody wanted to have some level of convenience and ease of product on. I mean, not everybody was into RDAs and rolling coils and all that stuff. So sub-ohms became practicality. So yeah, it happens with everything.
"Hey, Tom, you can go ahead and take care of this spotlight. You want to ask questions?"
What am I supposed to do? You just told me to get people. I got people.
Hey,
So
Cheryl,
unprepared.
how
Hey,
are you?
Cheryl.
Hi, I'm good.
Good. You
Hi,
want
Cheryl.
Hello.
this? You, Brian. Cheryl, you know everybody else on the panel. Brian, Tom, and Tim. Well, we want to go ahead and you can tell us your journey into vaping and how you got started and how long you smoked and all that stuff, and knock yourself out.
Oh, all right. Well,
How long have you been smoking? How long were you smoking? I should say you're smoking.
technically, since I was 5.
What?
Yeah.
5?
My stepmother smoked, and she would give me her cigarette and tell me to go light it on the kitchen stove.
Oh, you had a lazy one.
So, and then she would send me to the store to get them for her. So technically, I started when I was 5.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm 58 now. I've been vaping for almost 4 years now, and yeah, almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in October.
Let me get the questions queued up so I can go ahead and do it from the questions. I lost it where it was. It was in it was in our chat thing, right? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
The link wasn't.
Yeah, like the link wasn't. And you've been vaping now for 4 years.
Almost 4, yeah.
4 years. And do you remember the first vape mod or device that you bought when you started vaping?
It was the smoke Pro Color.
Pro Color. God, do I remember that one? You remember
The
that
purple one.
The
I
purple.
remember that one. It wasn't that long ago, John.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't. I won't say anything about smoke.
You need to take your Alzheimer's medication.
I did take it. I took my prostate medicine as well.
I struggle too, John. Don't feel bad.
Oh, well. How long have you been with Zamplebox? Now you've been on the page now for quite some time too. I was looking at your thing, Sherry. How long?
Yeah. I think probably I started vaping in October, so I think I started Zamplebox in November of the same year. Yeah.
Yeah, a month after.
Yeah. It was kind of funny how I actually started. I was on vacation, and my I have 2 kids. They're both adults, but they both live with me because in March of 2016, my sister passed from brain cancer. On a Monday, the following Monday, 1 week later, my daughter was diagnosed with brain cancer.
Wow.
And 6 years before that, my husband was diagnosed with COPD. So I'd gone on vacation, and while I was gone, my son quit smoking using vaping. When I got home, he's like, "Ma, try this." I had tried, what are those pills? Chantix.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried those. I tried patches. I tried everything, and nothing worked. So I, when I got back from vacation, he said, "Ma, try this, try this." So I did. And I didn't like the flavors he's had. And I said, "Ew, that's gross."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Ma, you got to quit. Let's try this. Give it a fair shot." I'm like, okay. So we went to the vape shop down the street and picked out the mod. And then they had like a bar there where you could try all kinds of flavors.
The good old days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they still have it. No, they still have it. You can still use it.
Yeah.
But they don't change the juice in the tanks very often, so it's not very good. But anyway, that's when I found Lemon Twist. Pink Punch Lemonade. That was all it took. I started vaping that, and within 3 days, I threw my cigarettes away.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's perfect. 3 days. A lot of people. Yeah, it took me the same way. I think with all of us finding that one flavor.
Yep.
Mhm.
You find that one flavor, man. It's game over.
Cheryl, did you experience a lot of coughing when you first started vaping?
No, not really. No. And I have asthma, and I haven't had to use an inhaler since I started vaping.
Nobody talks about that stuff.
No.
I don't even have a new inhaler. I haven't bought one in 3 years.
That's awesome. And was it a sub-ohm tank you started out with?
Mm-hmm.
It was a sub-ohm. It was this kit. It was a kit. That was
Yeah. But I right away switched to the Dead Rabbit.
The Dead Rabbit.
Yeah, I had a Dead Rabbit by Christmas. So
Oh,
it was
wow.
like
You did
into my 3rd month, I went into the Dead Rabbit.
You did the transition from sub-ohm to building coils and RDAs. That's awesome. So that's what we're trying to stress in the lounge, that it's not that hard. Anybody can do this, you know.
I did it. My son did for me.
Well, I'm sure now you can build just a standard, single wire coil, though. I bet.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, and wick it and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
That first setup you had, what was the milligram nicotine content?
3.
The original setup that you had?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when we were all on like 18 or when
I
we
started on 6.
And at that point, I was smoking almost 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, and if anybody's watched Brian on any of the lives, I can see him saying 30 because
I'm sorry, 38.
He cheats the shit out of
gravy. 38.
Wow, and that was regular dick.
Well, but put that into perspective, though. I mean, the Nick salts are up to 50 in a lot of cases, so that's not that odd. I think the differential being that when a lot of us started, I mean, we were in the infantile stages where the systems were more geared to that.
Yeah.
I mean, once RDAs hit, you saw everybody going, "Oh, I can't vape 12 milligram. I mean, I can't drip 12 milligram," and they're right.
It all comes down to volume versus nicotine content.
Yeah.
If you vape 3 milligrams and you have huge volumetric clouds, there's lots of consistency of vapor in your lungs. When you have something like an Ego Twist, when I first started, you were getting a tiny bit of vapor. So you needed a tremendous amount of nicotine to give you a hit that was satisfying enough to take away the urge to smoke.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying, because Cheryl kind of, Cheryl's journey was rather rapid because
Yeah.
She got into it a little bit more recently than some of us did, where everything was the spectrum was completely different.
Yeah, we did the steps and the transition. Went from, I started with 18 and just 12, and then started working my way down to 3. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome, because that's the other thing. Every single vapor is different. Sure, it can go straight into 3, be satisfied, and never touch a fucking cigarette again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Some people have to start at 18, 19, and or salt nicks or whatever, and work their way back down to 3. But what is your favorite flavor now? Are you still vaping that same flavor? You are. Wow, that's fucking awesome. That's unheard of, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it didn't happen in my
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
I will panic if I don't have at least 3 bottles in the house.
And that's an important point, because with this situation that's happening with all of these vape companies being put out of business, there are people that are like, my wife loves this one flavor that she's been on for 5 years, and she vapes that flavor, and she panics too. And she's even contacted the manufacturer to say, if they were to go out of business, can we get the recipe for this so that we can continue making it? Because she connects vaping with a flavor, just like with cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I've known a lot of people like that.
here's our big question. How many mods do you own? Look, her eyes went up.
I don't own that many.
Okay.
When I first started vaping and I saw how many mods people like you, John, have, I'm like, why do you need that many vapes? Why? I just don't get it. But now, progressed years later, I have 5 or 6.
You're the one that always haunts me with, tell the companies to make purple, right?
Purple. Yep.
Everything's got to be purple.
Yep. My nickname on Steam is Purple Painter.
Purple painter. And you still using the Dead Rabbit, or did you? I'm sure you've changed RDAs as well.
Actually, right now I'm using a Falcon King. I'm not using RDA because I work 90 hours a week, and
The Falcon King's great.
it's just I'm so gone that it's just.
Yeah, it's difficult to sit down and build. That's why I did that video a couple of days ago, just to kind of show people how quickly it is to rewick an RDA and how simple it is to clean your coils. It's
Well, it wasn't. It's not just that it's dripping when you're trying to move clients from one place to another in the car, and it was just too difficult.
Yeah,
I do use it when I'm home.
Yeah.
I do use it when I'm home.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask her, one of our other questions is how's the family accepted you vaping? And well, obviously your son is the one that got you started.
Yeah.
How about anyone else in your family? Have you gotten support, or you've been getting support from other family members, or negative criticisms?
I'm getting mostly support.
Okay.
A week after I quit, my daughter quit smoking, started vaping. The one that had brain cancer.
Awesome.
So that helped her through her healing. And right now, nobody in my house smokes.
It's great.
My 2 best friends, I've gotten them all vaping now. So they don't smoke anymore either.
And where are you at again? You're in
Florida.
In Florida, where the other state that's having, Brian, you tipped your head. Yeah, it's the other state that's stepping up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got any questions for Cheryl?
What since you have such an affinity for a couple different flavors, what led you to Zamplebox as a company to utilize for your juice?
I was on the lookout for a couple more good flavors. Like, I always have 2 or 3 mods running. When I walk out the door, I have 1 in my hand and 2 in my purse.
2 in your purse.
I like variety.
Who doesn't carry more than 1 mod around with them? I can't. You
And
go
I have 3 different flavors in my mods all the time.
all the time. Yeah, that was the big thing for me. I mean, I in a rural area, I didn't have a lot of choices. And for me, it was Pat's Clouds out of New York. Their e-juice. If I hadn't have found that peanut butter, was it peanut butter, banana, custard? I vaped that for 4 years. I would have never found that juice here in California. They didn't ship out here without Zamplebox. So yeah, that's a good point. Good question, Tim. Anybody else?
But I've got a statement that you probably have not heard before from anyone. But I have lost 120 pounds over the last 4 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I can say that this is the reason. Right here.
Yeah. No.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because when I crave something sweet, I grab my lemon instead of cookies or candy or cake or ice cream. I grab my vape. I hit my vape 5 or 6 times. My sweet tooth is gone.
It's gone.
Right.
There was a study. I don't know if it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but they were doing something with vaping and weight loss. I never kept up with it to see how the study went, but I was thinking the same thing like 5 or 6 years ago. It's just like, this would be great for people to lose weight at night.
Mhm.
Crave that fucking chocolate cake.
I've heard that.
It's
I
worked
can't
for
remember the
me.
study. Yeah, I've heard of that too. I don't recall a study off the top of my head. I can look and see, but
There was one about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a company that was doing a study with weight loss and vaping and using the flavors to help people with their sweet tooth during the day and the midday, afternoon, and the evening. And I never saw anything. They probably lost funding. The government probably put the funding from them.
well, I mean, she's got a good point though. I mean, if you're using Subhome or Dripper or something like that, and you use the bakery flavors or the sweet flavors or candy flavors, so that the vapor production is really going to help with the taste buds per se. If you using something like a pod device or something small that you're not going to get as much vapor. So it is possible that you might not get that feel that you had before.
I know it didn't work for me. I had ice cream for breakfast, so
Yeah, I was gonna say I've gained 50 pounds since I started vaping, but I blame that more on YouTube and sitting downstairs in the basement and being a total lazy son of a bitch. But
you got to find some sweeter juice.
yeah, I guess that's what it is.
I blame all mine on beer. So
Yeah, beer. We're waiting for the beer flavor.
right.
ooh,
I think Zamplebox has had some of those. They've had some pretty nasty flavors on their nasty videos. They used
They have.
yeah, that skin one, burnt skin. I mean, who the fuck comes up with that flavor? It says, yeah, let's come up with a flavor that tastes like skin. I'm just
yeah,
like,
just
no, pass, hard pass.
How do people know what burnt skin tastes like?
I don't know.
Yeah, really. What? Who are these people?
We need to do a test on that person to see if they have any history in the DNA database or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
They have some
Make sure they're not on any lists.
they have some
Yeah.
prior knowledge, maybe. I don't know, man.
Wow.
So what? Anybody else got any questions for Cheryl?
Yeah.
Oh, and I see you're using the Vupu.
Yeah,
How are you liking that device?
I like it.
Is it female
you know,
enough for you? Is it female enough for you?
I don't like the edges. They're sharp.
Yeah.
They're really like,
It's a boxy mod.
Yeah, it's a
yeah. I like this one better. This is
Vaporesso.
this is the graffiti
Yeah.
by V Zone, I think.
V-Zone. I don't
I
know.
like this.
heard of that.
I like the shape of this one because it
And
is
it's
rounded
and
What?
it's purple.
and it's purple.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian,
Sure.
you have a purple topside, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, there's a purple topside. Cheryl, when you're on the road at work working those 90 hours, do you have batteries with you that you carry? Do you have battery cases that you carry?
Yes.
Do you have a battery charger at home?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
she knows our lounge. We stress that.
I have 2 chargers. I have one that I keep at work and one that I have a little one at work, but I have a big one at home.
Awesome.
I have like 9 sets of batteries for the 3 mods that I take with me.
Very cool.
We are waiting for Silvio to come in.
Cases are key with anything you bring around.
Yes.
There's a time where nobody really understood the point of cases and whatnot. I mean, these things are cheap to get.
Yeah.
Super
The
cheap.
silicone ones are awesome too.
Yep.
I think some of those, Brian, the silicone ones, I've seen them on your show.
Yeah, they're my faves.
Yeah.
Those look
I like
great.
those.
And it keeps the batteries separated. If I only seen one person here in Modesto had a bunch of 18650s in his pocket. And I'm like, are you a freaking idiot?
Yep.
Just in his pocket with his keys. Yeah, I was just like, that's not smart, guy.
I don't switch my batteries between mods either.
Right.
When I get a set of batteries, I mark them for the mod.
Good girl. You married the set.
Yeah, and I marry it to a mod. I don't switch it. Like I don't use the batteries for my Vupu in my graffiti.
Oh.
You don't have to do that. I mean, it's nice if you do that. It's not like a key thing, I should say, per se.
Maybe I'm just over,
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's I mean, I mark mine. I kind of keep. Unfortunately, I remember back. I had to throw a bunch of them away when the Wismec mod came out because I had 3 batteries to keep together, and I no longer use those for that mod. We went through that last night with that. I couldn't get either one of those to work. I was all proud that I still had those 2 mods. And one doesn't stop fucking. I put batteries in it, and the wattage just keeps going. Mm-hmm. And then the other one, of course, the 510 went out. So now, do you plan on ever going lower on your NIC level, or are you pretty happy where you're at 3? Do you ever see yourself going down to 0?
Nope.
No.
Not in my stressful life right now. Absolutely not.
Keep the edge off. Mm-mm. Yeah, I see a lot of people, they talk about that. I actually have seen a few in the lounge that have said, I'm down, I'm done, I'm 0, I'm at 0. I've been gone for 6-7 months and I'm finished. And I'm proud of those people that can do that. For me, I think 3 is my level. I'm happy at 3 and I'm happy with that. And every now and then, like I'll vape, maybe a 6 or maybe a 12, but I do a lot of the salts too. Oh, we didn't get your opinion on salts, Brian. Do you have any?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to nicotine and caffeine and nicotine salt, I think everybody's physiology is different. I think that the way our bodies react to chemicals is different. For me, when I vape nicotine salt, it gives me massive increase. Like I'm an anxious person to begin with. And for me, when I vape nicotine salt, I get incredible anxiety. And it just makes everything much more overwhelming for me. Even nicotine and caffeine give me anxiety, but I love it. So it's hard for me. Like I'm down to 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day, like real 8-ounce cups, where I used to drink coffee all day. And the older I get, your body changes. Things that used to not impact you, like sugar. Sugar fucks me up. Sorry to use the F-bomb, but if I eat a ton of sugar the next day or 2 days after that, I just feel like crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just the way my body breaks it down and the way I digest it. And caffeine and nicotine can be looked at the same way. So
yeah.
Luckily, nicotine doesn't impact me the way that nicotine salt does.
Yeah, the salt does.
Yeah, but I have no problem with it as far as people enjoying it. I think that the impact on the bloodstream and the way that it increases your nicotine levels in your blood is effective as hell. I think it's great for brand new people that smoke heavily to get that hit of nicotine in their system easily with less volume of vape.
Yeah,
I think it's all good. So
we won't talk about Juul.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Silvio to join, but it doesn't look like he's coming on. But
did you message him?
Do you have any questions for Brian that you might want to ask him?
Me?
No. an opportunity. We have a legend here. We have a legend.
You went from special to legend, like
Yeah,
that.
I like legend much more than special.
I can't let him have special because of its meaning to Mark. Mark's
Yeah.
like the official special guest, so
Forever.
forever.
Do totally agree with Brian's take on starting a business, and you have to throw a lot into it.
Mhm.
I know what you're going through, what you went through, Brian, because my son and I are working on a business, and we've been working on it for 2 years. And we're like right there, ready to release our first product, but we're having a problem with one of the corners, so we can't release yet. And it's like,
It's frustrating, man, when you have something you want to get out there.
Yep. There were many nights that I was in the fetal position in bed and my wife had to comfort me because of the real gut-wrenching, challenging nights where things don't go your way and things get pushed back or you lose this or things fall apart, personality differences, changing market. Like there's nothing worse than designing something and then it's a brand new innovative idea and then all of a sudden like a month before launch somebody comes out with the same idea.
Yeah.
The worst feeling ever.
I remember that.
Yeah. But such is life.
It's great. That's the one thing I like about with you and Mark. Your guys' wives are so much part of your guys' show and you're at, and it's great that support. Angela, I don't know how she.
I don't know either. But there's something to be said. There's a lot of like people that have perspective about what they think about certain people's personalities, what they think about people with how they handle things. But there's one truth. I have had the same group of friends, the same crew, the same wife, the same, there's been consistency. I've done cooperative products with other vape reviewers, and it takes real people that are good people to work together in a mutually reciprocal way that's not going to break apart. It takes character. Mm-hmm. And in this industry, we need people that are going to stand tough with each other and not let money and fame or whatever you want to call it destroy us. You know what I mean? And that you see that happen all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where Silvio is. He was excited to come on and be our spotlighted. Well, we could talk about our other subject if you want to chime in on with the weather change and e-juice and guys carrying mods in their cars and G-juice in their cars, if these hot cars. You guys want to throw out some pointers, kind of help people? One member brought up, he DM'd me, but he puts his stuff in his cooler. I never thought about that. Most of us have ice packs now, then they don't, have a lot of liquid, doesn't get all over the place. But I never thought about, just taking your e-juice and putting it in your cooler.
Well, the key word with e-juice, with heat or cold or whatever, is viscosity. It will change thinner in heat. It will thin out. It will actually drain out faster in heat, in theory, versus in cold, it'll actually thicken up.
It'll thicken
like
up.
anything else.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than leaving your mod in your tank in your car and coming out and finding the whole 5 mils in your glove.
Yes. Or you take that first pull and it's a mouthful of e-liquid.
That's never fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was it last summer was the car fire? Was it in front of a vape shop where the guy
What?
That was a battery thing. The battery got too hot.
Yeah, I remember that one, but there was another one that I don't know, it could have been bullshit too, but where a mod blew up in somebody's car in a hot car.
I don't remember that story. I just remember the kid that ended up with the facial trauma because he went to a vape shop and the vape shop didn't sell mech mods, which is what he was looking for help with. Yeah. And so they couldn't do anything with him. And he went back out to his car and it blew up in his face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's actually a good point, though. What are people's thoughts on shops selling mech mods now? Like some shops just don't want to touch them at all.
I think it's such a nuanced discussion.
Yeah. It's one of those things. it's when you talk about mix and stuff like that, even in the group too, people have asked about mix and stuff like that. It's like, how do you dress it without getting into the fine details about everything?
Right.
Yeah, nothing's ever black and white, right?
Right.
Our shop, I remember that day. I was blown away when that law went into effect, and I walked into our shop here, switched to vapor, and I was like, "Where's all the RDAs? Where's the wire? Where's the cotton? Oh, we're not selling that anymore." And it's just mock kits, just kits and cape and sub-ohm tanks, and no more RDAs. I couldn't get no more wire. And for me in the small town, I was like, "Where do I get my friggin' wire now, dude?" I was just like, "What was that 2000?" When did that go through? That was quite a while ago, where they weren't allowed. Everything was considered a tobacco. It was considered tobacco. Wire, cotton, RDAs, all that stuff was considered a tobacco product. But anybody else questions? I'm kind of done. I got no more questions for Brian.
Well, I know, John, you don't deal with this a lot, but we up in the northern area, we have to deal with more of the cold at times, like the really cold.
Brian, we know there's only 15 people that live in North Dakota, and you're one of the 15 people, dude. Nobody lives in North Dakota.
I know.
There's
I'll
a few
speak for
people
all
there.
of us. But I mean, like in the wintertime, I switch to a dripper, and then I go back to a tank, and during the spring, summer, stuff like that. But in the wintertime, I cannot have a tank
because it doesn't wick.
Yes, doesn't wick through at all. So I always have to carry a dripper in the wintertime, because otherwise it'll actually heat up and actually vaporite.
What if you were to use like a full PG liquid? I wonder if that would work.
I haven't tried it.
Even though it'd probably be hard unless you did DIY to get something that was
yeah. Well, I'm kind of curious if it would just be too thin though, too. Like in certain tanks, it wouldn't be as bad, like the Nautilus-esque type.
Yeah.
But if you're using like a TFE 16 or
it would pour out.
Yeah,
it would pour out.
Kind of our thing here. Everyone's like, "Well, I need a thinner liquid in the wintertime." I'm like, well, no, you really don't.
I got
a
suggestion for you, Brian. Move. I'm just kidding. Nobody lives there. Nobody lives there. It's like you're so close to Canada, nobody cares. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. That's why I'm here. If you don't like people, you can move here, and you can be spread out away from other people.
Amen.
I'll stick with being here in Wisconsin. Thank you. Our cheese is better.
Yeah, do the numbers. Do the numbers again per capita per person in New York City to North Dakota. What was it again?
New York was it 2,000 people per square mile, and North Dakota was 11. Totally okay with that.
Well, Brian's on the East Coast, so I'm assuming you want to do the trip south if you ever leave. Am I right?
I've been looking at, and you know this area probably really well, but like even northern Delaware, like outside of Wilmington, like near Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, that area is far enough away from. You can get some land, like an acre or two. You feel like you're sort of in the country, but you're close enough to be 10 minutes at the Walmart or the supermarket and things like that. That's where I'm looking, and the taxes are so much lower in Delaware.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it. That 10%.
Our property taxes, our income taxes.
Well, my uncle Buffalo, it's 10% of the. Well, lucky for him, he bought his house in the 60s, so it doesn't affect. It's not too bad, but 10% of the cost of the home every year in property taxes. That's insane in Buffalo. You 10 grand. If you spend $100,000 on a house, you're going to come up with 10 grand every year. And I'm sure my cousins live in Jersey, and it's just as high.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. Where here it's 1.5%.
Yeah, basically, even if you own your home, you're going to be paying rent for the rest of your life to the state.
Pretty much. You never truly own your home.
You never own your home. Nope.
You never own it.
So that's unacceptable to me. So I'm going to be making some changes. I'll tell you that.
You got what's his name, Murphy, right? Is it Murphy?
Yes, Governor Murphy.
Governor Murphy. Anybody got any other questions for Brian? We can let him, get on out of here. It's for him. Anybody?
Any questions in chat?
In chat, I was not in charge of chat. Tom is in charge of chat.
Yeah.
Moderator.
I'm working on it.
I was watching a little bit. I didn't see
the house is finally under 80 degrees now. Well, you're in Chicago. Madison's in Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it without central air and heat. I just don't get it.
It's pretty easy.
Well, I lived in San Diego, and we didn't have central AC.
You don't need it in San Diego. It's 75 all the
Yeah,
time.
oh, yeah, it's the perfect temperature, like all the time.
Yeah, you just can't afford anything in San Diego. That's the big
the problem.
difference.
You're literally living in paradise when you live in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paradise when a 1,000 square foot single level family home costs 750 grand. Yeah, that's paradise.
It's not paradise.
Actually, I prefer the heat.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Like when my son's in the Navy, when he was wanted to transfer to San Diego, they're like, we would do it if you were single, but because you're married, it's not cost effective for the military. They can't afford it. They can't afford to put a family in San Diego. If he was single, they would have said, yeah, sure, come to San Diego. But because he was married, he was like, nope. And Hawaii's the same way. All these guys want to go to San Diego and Hawaii to be stationed, but they won't take you if you're married. If you're a married couple with kids, they're like, nope. It would cost the military a fortune.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for having me on the show, John. Thanks to everybody on the panel.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I had a great time. Thanks everybody in chat. Have a wonderful week.
We appreciate your time, Brian. Thank you.
All right, guys. Good night.
Bye, Brian.
Thanks. Later.
All right. I don't know what happened to Sergio.
Silvio.
Why do I have a friend named Sergio? That's why.
What happened to Jeff Prince? I thought he was coming on.
Jeff had a job interview or something. I think.
Yeah, orientation or something or other.
Orientation.
Oh, all right.
But we got our spotlight member right here. Let's make it tough on her.
How do you make
there's
it?
Silvio. He's coming in.
Oh, he's coming in?
He just posted in chat.
All right. We can bring him in and keep Sherry here as well. So what's the business? You're doing the bead stuff, correct? Or the lighting, the table lighting?
The lighting, yeah.
The lighting. Yeah, I remember.
Hey, Brian, this is the one I was telling you about for if you want a new desk.
Oh, that's one. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. RGB desks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were chit-chatting about that the other day. So
Yeah.
Last night, actually, sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
I lose track of my hours and days sometimes. So
Well,
we're working on right now. We just got to figure out how to get the corners to light up better.
you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, we have to hire somebody to make us I don't know what it's called, a diode or something.
Yeah.
A doohickey.
Yeah.
Keep it technical. There you
think
go.
Go to Acme.
But once we have that, then we're going to be open because we've got all our licensing done and everything.
Nice. Yeah, that was a road runner.
And Brian, you were saying you wanted it 10 feet long by 12 feet L shape?
I'm not sure how big I want it yet.
Damn.
Right now, I have a glass desk, and
I thought it
was a great idea. And I realized
you got an office at the Trump Towers there that big for a
well, I mean, I thought it was gonna be a great idea. It's gonna look nice, and then I realized it's gonna get dusty. I got stuff on it. It's gonna scratch. I'm like, well, that was dumb.
You put something down too hard, it's gonna shit.
Yeah. So I would dual monitor mount on it, and I'm like, well, now I need an actual wooden desk. So now I'm looking at other options, but it's just a new time.
Yeah. Well, you could talk about any new flavors that you found in your Zamplebox that you're enjoying so far.
That was actually a thing I was thinking about earlier. Is when you were sticking with the one flavor or one flavors, and you went to the box with Zamplebox. Have you found other flavors that weren't in that zone that you liked?
Yes, I have.
Did you feel like you can actually branch out a little bit further than that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm real picky. I don't like the cakey things.
Mm-hmm. Like desserts and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know. It's like, yeah, like the cake.
Yeah,
Like
I don't like cake vapes either.
Yeah.
And I don't like peaches because everything peach tastes like
Peach is hard.
chemicals to me. Straight up chemical. And But yeah, I found quite a few on Zample that I really like and I've enjoyed. And I've reordered and reordered certain bottles.
Yeah, peach and banana are really hard because you have those people that want the right flavored banana and peach, and those people that don't want the right flavor. They want, it's banana to me is one of the hardest.
Madison has a question.
Where is Madison? Do you like bubble gum? Madison is the bubblegum girl flavor. Anything that's bubblegum. Have you tried?
I haven't really tried anything bubblegum. I did get a cotton candy one a couple weeks ago that was pretty on point, but a little overly sweet.
Overly?
Yeah, it was a little too sweet.
Yeah. Mango. You could throw out a suggestion, Madison, for a bubblegum flavor or line that you'd like for her to try. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mango at all.
Mango's tough.
But banana I like.
Yeah.
Where the hell's my bottle?
Banana, like that's the same thing right there. You got the people that want the right bananas. They want some people that want the other banana. Some people that want the candy flavored banana.
Banana.
I can't
runs bananas.
I can't stand the candy banana. I don't
know.
Like the now and later flavored kind of banana. I don't like that.
See, I'm the guy that doesn't like grape really, because everything tastes like a grape Kool-Aid to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you tried the white grape from J-Bo's line?
I have not had that one yet, actually.
Really
You should try that. It's delicious.
OG Bubba.
I knew she was going to say that.
Oracle?
Okay, we got Sir Silvio.
Silvio.
Hey, Silvio, what's happening?
Hey, Silvio.
We got Tim, Tom, Sherry, and Brian.
How you doing, guys?
Doing pretty good. How are you, man?
All right, good to be here.
Good. We're happy to have you here. We'd love to hear your story and how you got started. And first question we're going to ask you: were you a smoker or a chewer?
I was since I would say probably the age of 12.
Wow, everybody started so early.
Yeah, I was that kid in the bleachers with the cigarettes, and what can I say?
Yeah. I started at 12, but I didn't kind of start. I stole my first cigarette from a priest, which is pretty bad. So I was an altar boy and saw the pack of cigarettes sitting there. It was just like Pall Malls, non-filtered.
Ooh.
I looked at the other.
I feel your pain on that one, John.
Yeah, I got pretty sick, man. But that was my first one.
And he was a priest?
It was a priest, yeah. It was a priest, yeah. It was a priest from the church where I was the altar boy. I felt so bad. And then I had to go Wednesday to confession and confess that I had stolen a cigarette. And I was praying to God.
Hey, guys, just wanted to say really, really quick.
Yeah.
And just kind of put my fiance since Friday. So it's been, almost 8 days.
Yeah. All right.
My fiance, come here. Just get in the picture here for a minute.
Hey. I got to get some congratulations sound effects. I got to work on that one.
Yeah, we need more.
Yeah, don't do that first sound effect you played.
Yeah. No, Jackie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is she happy that you don't smoke anymore?
Oh, she is. Well, yeah. She was also a smoker and still trying to quit, still trying to get through that process.
Well, that's good because I've seen your videos and stuff, so I know you know what you're doing, and you're going to be able to help her make that transition. That's awesome.
Yep.
Just got to find her flavor. I mean, we talk about it over and over again. It's just finding that one flavor, and it helps that transition. And do you remember your first device?
I do.
Yeah.
The first device I ever had was actually a smock. It was smoke. Smock. Yeah. And it was the Prince stick.
Oh, the Prince. Yep.
Yep. And I had that one for a while. It didn't take long before it started, leaking on me, and then I had to go through that process where I spend a lot of money actually trying to find what I liked, right? Because in the beginning I got a little disappointed and said, you know what, well, this is not for me. You know,
It's
it will leak all over my pants, my shirt. Not just the smog,
everything.
you know, other ones that I through the process of wanting to quit smoking cigarettes and find an alternative. I went through a few mods that, as I went through each one of them, I started learning more and more and more.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was a smog.
It was, and did you start also at 3 or 6? You remember what Nick level you started at?
I started at 12.
Oh, you started at 12.
And I got sick.
You got sick?
I got sick.
You were.
I started with 12 milligrams, and I remember just being sick. So the next morning, I went to the shop and I spoke with the shop person, and he's like, well, maybe, you know, you should try a 6 milligram. I used to smoke at least a pack and a half a day. So I used to be a big time smoker. And then it would be between cigarettes throughout the day, and then at night, I would sometimes sit outside and smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of nick I was taking in.
Yeah.
So, but when I tried when I first started vaping, I thought because of the amount of nick I was taking on a daily basis, I wanted to go high, all right, to kind of level that out. It didn't turn out well.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of people. They start at that higher level and they don't treat it as they did with a cigarette. We didn't have a cigarette in our hand 24/7. You know, we smoked maybe a cigarette every half hour or 30 minutes, but you grab a mod and yeah, exactly.
So then I went down to 6, and I gradually now I'm really happy with a 3, and that's my spot.
That's your spot.
Yeah.
And what is the flavor of choice for you?
What I am right now is one of my favorites. It's from Dinner Lady, and it's the lemon tart.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great juice. Happy that now they make them in this
the bigger, the 60 ml bottle.
60 ml.
Yeah, the 60 ml, and it's easier to fill as well. Because before it was just in that glass, and you had to get the dropper. And
hey, some of us old timers like those glass bottles. Who misses glass strippers?
Nope.
Broke a few.
Oh man!
Because I don't have. I can throw this in my pocket or in my range bag, and I don't have to worry about it getting shattered.
Exactly.
There's still a lot of people that are out there that swear that the juice tastes better in the glass bottle than it does in the plastic bottle. There's still a good portion of old time vapors that'll swear to the glass bottle.
Well, I typically vape it too fast.
Yeah,
I think it's like that beer myth, right? Some people prefer bottle than can.
And yeah, so it even gets to the point with beer with the color of the bottle. It's like
for beer, my favorite is free.
Doesn't matter, right? As long as it's a free beer. Well, I actually going to ask this question to both of you because I forgot to ask Sherry this question. But are any of you two involved in any of the advocacy groups? Are you involved, or are you signed up with CASA or any of the other group?
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Sherry, I'm going to give you the link. You need to register with CASA, and it's a great.
It's free.
It's free, and it's a great way to stay on top of what's going on. Where are you at, Sylvia?
If you send me the link, John, I will finally do it. And yes.
Yeah. It's a great way to keep track of what's going on in your city, your state.
Yeah.
And they got the call of action. It's pretty easy. You can see what's going on, and it'll let you know who your representatives are for your districts and stuff like that. So it's a great way for both of you guys to stay on top of what's going on as far as advocacy with vaping.
Yep. And whenever there's a call to action, it'll give you the list of who to contact, all their information. A lot of times they'll have a pre-done email or something like that you can just sign your name to and send it to them.
Awesome.
Sylvia, also, obviously your fiance is happy with you vaping. How's the rest of your family accepting you as a vapor now instead of smoking? Are you getting a lot of support in that way from them as well? Absolutely,
especially from my kids.
Oh,
yeah. They they're happy. I stopped smoking cigarettes. I started noticing myself the change in health wise. Within, I would say, probably a week after I stopped, and I'm talking. I mean, when I fully stopped, must have been a good 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I gradually stopped smoking. I couldn't go cold turkey and do it all at once. I try to do that multiple times, and I will fall back.
Right.
So I gradually stopped and went to vaping, and since, I mean, it's been a great journey for my family, my kids, myself. I feel a lot better, and I'm thankful that we can vape.
Yeah. Anybody got a question? Hit them with some questions. Throw them at them.
Any good grilling recipes or fishing spots?
Yeah.
John was expecting me to ask, so I had to.
Fishing.
You said fishing spots?
Yeah.
I'm in the desert, bud.
So that's a no.
No, I mean, we got a couple of water holes around, man-made lakes out here.
Yeah.
You can catch some good fish, but
I was going to say supermarket. The supermarket.
I know some good fishing spots up in Michigan, Tom.
Yeah,
I got some good ones here, so I'm pretty set.
I know some good ones in Wisconsin too.
I'm sure that your kids enjoy you not stinking. That's like the big thing. My kids were like, they're like, God, you finally smell like somebody I want to stand next to.
Yeah.
I will walk in the house and not smell stale cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which now I guess you become so sensitive to it still, because my girlfriend's still going through the process of fully stopping, and I can smell when she's had a cigarette, and she's like, I had it this afternoon at noon, and it's already 6 o'clock at night. I was like, I can smell it.
Awesome.
It's in her hair.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly, once you make that transition, you start getting your senses back. Your sense of smell comes back. For me, it was taste. All of a sudden, I noticed I was using less and less salt. I was like, I'm not salting the shit out of my food like I was before. But my sense of smell is still kind of. Maybe I was a truck driver, so I was in a cab of a truck for 20-something years smoking. So I think I've really destroyed whatever sense, nose hair filters, whatever you have in there. I'm very one of the few people that I don't smell my juice. I don't smell it. So when someone says, "Oh man, that smells delicious," I'm like, "Oh great," I don't smell it. Have you noticed your senses coming back? Your taste buds and obviously your sense of smell is back. So.
Yeah, and taste buds is and the same thing with the taste buds.
Yeah.
It will be because I smoked so much. I mean, my mouth was covering in nick and tar and all that. I will have to season the crap out of wherever I ate just to kind of get some type of taste.
Yeah. All right, here's the big question. How many mods does Silvio own?
Currently,
How many does he want to admit to with his fiance there?
Yeah, she's not in the room.
I currently have my Expos, which is what I'm using right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5. I have 5.
It's perfect.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say with your wife around, if you say a number, we'll just take it times 4.
Yeah.
Times 4. He's got the vape layer closet hidden.
I know exactly how this works, man.
It's secret compartment behind some drawers.
See, one thing she doesn't know, that's the reason why I got a bigger vehicle, to hold all my stuff in it.
Smart thinking.
Yeah. Tanks and RDAs? Got quite a few. Are you building? You're building. Well, obviously, I see. You're building.
Yes.
That's good. And I'm sure you're still using sub-owned tanks as well.
I do. I use both.
Yeah.
At times when I'm not driving that much, I use my tanks. Other times, and I'm like,
Sorry, I'll mute myself.
Huh? Did you mute yourself?
Me?
No.
Oh.
Tim muted himself. Do not unmute the guest because there you are. Are you muted, Tim? We'll continue. Tim will figure it out. Okay. As far as juices, have you found? Did we ask this question already? Did you find any new juices that you've fallen in love with out of in your Zampleboxes?
No, I usually stay around the same juices. Yeah. I've explored a few different ones, but I'm kind of like I stick to what I like, to what I know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I don't. Once in a while, I get crazy and try something new.
Yeah.
But I like to stick to what I like.
All right, I'm done. Sorry, I was answering a question in the stream was playing live. That's
okay. Good. Yeah. Are you more catered to the fruits or desserts as far as flavors? A little both. Well, obviously, a little both.
Yeah. I mean, desserts. It's it's weird because it's kind of like the day you're having or the day it's the way the day's ending.
Yeah.
Kind of go with that type of flow. I will say I'm more of a dessert flavor type. But I do have fruit ones.
Yeah. Oh, we had the Jeff Pierce.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, peeps."
Okay,
we've gone from Jeff Price to Jeff Pierce. We have not yet stuck with Jeff Price.
Look at it, I'm tired. It's hot. It's 106 here today. I'm sure it's hotter where you're at.
What
you hit today? You're in the desert, so you had to hit that 100 mark too as well.
We were 108 today.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's why you have AC.
Yeah,
we're here to dry heat.
My post today on my page was my sweat has its own sweat. That's how hot it's here today.
See, John is just saying that John should move up closer to us. That's just
I'm saying. I mean, we have all 4 seasons. We got great.
I'm 30 minutes away from about 40 lakes. 2 hours from the Bay Area. I'm 2 hours from Yosemite.
Okay, you want a cookie too?
I'm 2 hours from the beach. I can decide at the last minute and go from 85 degrees to skiing within 2 hours, snow skiing. So
you're you said you're 30 minutes away from 40 lakes?
At least.
Okay. So up here you'd be like 4 hours away from like three lakes.
3 lakes.
It'd be a compromise.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Not really. We got a lot of lakes over this way.
Yeah.
Brian, you just have a lot of field.
Yeah. And you won't have to wait to go somewhere to ski in snow. We got it for like 6 months. It's okay.
A couple states that I will go to. I already named them before. It'd be Phoenix. It would be Texas and Florida. Those would be the only states.
Phoenix is not a state.
Phoenix, Arizona, Texas, or Florida. Those are the only 3 states that I would use California for. Everything.
I think you would do well in Minnesota, John.
No, hell no. No. That first winter? No. You forget. I grew up in Philadelphia. I remember bundling up and dressing proper to go out.
But Philadelphia winter's not like a Midwest winter.
It's not. It's not like a Midwest winter, but it used to get cold, and we used to get a foot of snow and stuff.
You get used to it.
No, hell no. I rather fight it here at 106 and just jump in the shower, jump in a pool and cool off and be done with it, and then go sit on a lawn chair, drink a beer, and enjoy the afternoon.
Okay, then.
Pay higher property taxes. No, I'm joking.
I will never shovel snow again.
No, me either.
I don't either. I have a snowblower.
Yeah.
I ain't going outside to operate a snowblower either.
It ain't that bad.
I don't mind taking the grandkids to see the snow and spending a couple hours and getting back in my car and coming back to 75, 80 degree weather. That's perfect for me.
Yeah, I totally would do that too.
Yeah, no, it
out
sounds
here
horrible.
Out here in Phoenix, that's one of the things. Like I can drive 2 hours north and be in Flagstaff in the middle of winter and go play in the snow.
Yep.
I can drive 4 hours to California and be at the beach.
Yep.
I can drive 2 hours to Mexico, but I'm not sure I want to go there. And be at Rocky Point. So there's a lot of I think I'm in an area where I can, within 4 or 5 hours, I can live through the seasons.
It's the same thing with Texas, and the same thing I enjoy about Florida. Florida, I mean, there's no mountains out there, but at least I can 2-3 hours in any direction and have some fun.
Yeah, I've got a family member.
North Dakota, I mean, I could drive 4 hours and be in fucking Canada.
No, you can drive 4 hours and still see the same damn field.
3 hours.
I can go the other direction and go where?
Opposite direction. Be going south.
South.
Yeah. So you'd be in South Dakota.
I'm in South Dakota.
I actually have a family member that lives in Tucson, and I went down during December, January-ish to go visit him. First thing I did, he brought me up to the mountains and Flagstaff, like you're talking about, and brought me to show me snow. I was so upset that I went to Arizona to see snow. You have no idea. I'm like, this is just add a bunch of steps into something I could have just stayed at home for.
Yeah. I got family that lives in Chandler, Arizona.
Okay. I think that's where Amy lives.
They'll be coming up this way sometime next month, I guess, which is awesome because I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah. Chandler from Phoenix, it's about 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
So close, yeah.
And the only reason I want to go to Arizona is watch these guys in spring training.
Spring training, base. That team.
Shut up.
Don't hold that Mariner stuff up there. See, Arizona.
That what, John?
That's Giants territory.
That's not Mariners, John.
Scottsdale.
That's the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, Scottsdale's Giants country, but
Giants.
That's theirs. That belongs to them. We don't want you over there.
Well, tough shit.
Go to Florida. Keep going to Florida for spring training.
Nope.
With the Yankees.
Do you guys think they're going to bring it back at least some games this year?
God, I hope so.
I even suggested that they just continue playing the games. It doesn't matter if fans are out there. People want to see baseball.
Yeah. Just play.
And for me, it'd be like watching an A's game. There's only like 1,000 fucking people at an A's game, so it'd be just like an A's game. So what? One of the somebody told me Japan brought baseball back.
Korea.
Yes.
And they used sex dummies or sex blow-up dolls to separate people.
Oh, I saw that.
And they wrote the porn site on the forehead. They covered the mouths with a mask, but they left the porn site's name on the forehead of the doll. I'm like, dude, are you guys serious?
Hey, it's free advertising for them.
Yeah.
The porn site probably paid for all the dolls to be out there. Can you imagine watching a baseball game and all of a sudden you're looking at the stands and they're like, are those fucking blow-up dolls, man?
Those could be in your home by next week.
I'll tell you what, that's to me, that's a lot more interesting than going to some bar here in North America. Or no, sorry, it wasn't in North America. It was in some foreign country where they had all the patrons wear like these hats that had those pool floaty things coming out of the hat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Imagine that selfie. Could you even? I'm just saying. But if you were in Korea next to a porn doll, that would be way better.
For over there, that's just pretty much the normal. They just do weird shit.
Like, get creative.
The coolness level factor is like at
Yeah.
I was just thinking that
Take me out to the ball game.
I was just thinking that Japanese team, it was probably bring home a blow up doll night. So when the game is over, you took the doll home. Like that night, but with blow up dolls.
Hell yeah.
But
It's worth my while.
I can see some kid going home to his mom. Look what I got at the game, Mom.
I caught one.
I can see the kid standing in the hall and down the dugout trying to get speakers, and the players sign his blow up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
The
terrible.
ways we get off topic here.
Oh man, that's
You guys
Right.
are so funny.
I'll give it. That's creative marketing for them.
It is.
I mean, it's creative, but it's just like, I mean, who thinks baseball and porn together? It's like, most guys use baseball to stop things from happening. It's like, oh, baseball, fucking.
Hey, might help you catch a ball.
Oh, you just
It
throw
might.
the
Go
dog.
ahead.
Oh my
Never,
god!
never know. You might come home with a few phone numbers too.
Oh man, who's that? Oh,
Who's who?
oh no, it's Larry. Says I
Yeah,
never
Larry.
recognize the blow up doll.
For some reason, his name's not showing up like it should.
Yeah, how do you not? I mean, it's just there's only one. I mean, there isn't any other thing that you blow up that looks
It
like.
depends on how much time you spend on those kinds of sites, John.
I mean,
Just saying.
well, let's get back to it. Is there any? I think it's a little kid out of my mind walking home with his blow up doll from the baseball game. All I'm picturing right now is the mom's face when the little 10-year-old is coming home. And he's got the doll just hanging on the side, and he's walking into the house.
That's it. You're doing line at the bathroom, at the line to go to the bathroom, and everybody has their own doll.
He hasn't come out of his room in a week.
All right. Do our guests have any questions for us?
Yeah. You guys got any questions for us?
No, I mean,
No.
No.
Do you plan on ever quitting vaping?
No.
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 That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're at the 2:20 mark, so I don't want to let the show go on too much longer. I try to keep it at 2 hours so people can watch the replay. I want to say thank you to Brian for coming on, you too, Silvio and Sherry for joining us. It's great hearing your guys' story. Keep it up. You know, if you guys ever have any questions or anything and need any help, this panel is always available to help you guys out. So, you know, you want to tag us in a post that's in there, we're always there for you guys. So
Even if you want to just talk one-on-one, you know, just our DMs are open. So
I'll go ahead and start with Tim because he's right next to me. You want to say your goodbyes, Mr. Tim?
Sure. Yeah. I don't have anything prophetic to say. No. Don't move to California. Vape on, vape strong. Good night.
Rock on. Tommy boy.
I'm gonna go with what Tim said because California sucks. Stay the hell away from it. Vote for me in 2024 when I run for president so I can sell California to Mexico for $1.
Oh no.
That's all I got.
For $1. You're ripping them off.
I don't care.
You can have.
Silvio, you got any goodbye?
Yes, sir. I appreciate for the invite. I had a blast. I hope I can be a future guest sometimes in the near future again, and send me the link to Casal so I can go ahead and get on board with that. And appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thank you for this process.
And our lovely lady.
I just want to thank you, John, because you've helped me a lot over the years that I've been vaping. And Tim, thank you for your help too, because you always jump in there right away.
Quickest fingers in the business, right there.
Because you're not here in my house to talk to you, so I gotta let the fingers go.
You guys are really, really helpful to newbies.
Yeah.
And even people that have been vaping for a while, you're very helpful, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tom, I'm going to be up in your neck of the woods next month.
Nice.
Maybe we can get together for some coffee.
That'd be awesome.
Cheese curls.
Curds, not curls. Curds.
Whatever. You can get cheese curls anywhere. Not true cheese curd.
Right.
They're better. The cheese is better in California.
No, the hell it is not, sir. Don't be lying to people.
You can't beat Wisconsin cheese.
Everybody wants California cows.
No.
Ryan, where's your goodbyes there, buddy?
I put the link to Kazaa in the chat,
Oh,
so
good
that
boy.
way anybody can click the link and sign up for their own free will. It is free. I get monthly emails from them, and especially stuff
Yeah.
that's going on around the U.S., which really helps out.
And the emails are also, just a heads up on his, the emails are catered to your location.
Right.
So it's really good.
Yep. Yeah, it goes by state, so
Yeah.
so which is really nice. Let us know if and I enjoy feedback from people. Let us know how we're doing. Like, let us know like if there's things that you want more in these things, or questions answered, or topics you want, or whatnot. We like feedback, so
Yes, we love feedback.
so you can hit any one of us up if you want to, and just let us know.
Yep. All right, I'll say goodbye. I want to thank Brian. I want to thank you two guys for joining us. It was great hearing your guys' stories. Don't forget, next week will be blow up doll night. So bring your blow up doll. And that's about it. And I'm going to end the show with a great song.
Okay.
No.
Hey, how can you not talk about blow up dolls and not have the Jackie Moon song, man? I'm going to get brain force sweaty. All right, you guys. Thank you again all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll talk to
Guys. Yeah.
you. Peace out.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
I
Night.
Stay classy, San Diego.